Hey everybody, Garrett Rossi here from Hemmerville Machine Shop. This is the beginning of my newest video. What we have here is the ripper bar off of a D6 Caterpillar bulldozer, and as you can see right here, they just about ripped it apart. You can see this side buckled, this back plate buckled, and this one went off to the side and ripped apart, okay? There's a lot of reasons behind this. This is not the first time we've worked on this thing, and I'll explain that. But anyone who's followed me for a while knows that even though I didn't build this, this is a factory product. You're gonna get factory results, and I get pretty irritated, even pissed off when I get stuff come in like this, just of the cheapness of it as a whole. I would never, there's things about this ripper bar, I would have never let it leave my shop. Okay, one of them, come over here. Look right there. And right here. They didn't even bother welding it up, okay? That really bothers me. That really irks me when I see stuff like that. Now, has it broke here? No, that's not the point, okay? So, about 2 years ago, this thing came in and they had ripped these off, both of them. That one and this one. Not only did they rip them off, but this whole top piece had separated and was bulged up from the main bar. Well, I got to looking at it, I cut all these off, gouged them off, cleaned them up. They weren't destroyed, we were able to reuse them. All they did when they put these, you know, they didn't use the square tubing, they pieced all this together. And all they did was take these 1-inch plates and just butt weld them together and ran a little pass about that wide. You can see it right here. That pass is only about, 3/8 of an inch, and it's just butt welded. There's not a bevel in there anywhere, and I know that because of when I worked on this one, okay? The only reason the bottom hasn't come apart is because these main ears here go underneath it, all right? So I cut it all out, I put a new plate on it, we beveled the front and the back all the way, and we laid some good weld in there, okay? And then, before we put this on, all right, let me back up just a little. Before I put the top on, we took some 1.5-inch rods and welded them to what is the bottom piece inside, okay? And this is 1 inch, so we left them sticking up 1 inch high. We took our top plate, cut circles where they went, set them over them, welded it down, the holes were beveled, and we welded the top plate to those 1.5 inch solid rounds. And I put them directly underneath this one and this one, right in the center of it. And as you can see, this thing has not broke and isn't gonna break again because we did it right, okay? So another thing you'll notice if you look, you've got a D6 bulldozer pulling on this thing, whether they're root plowing or whether they're ripping, okay? A lot of times they'll put these in these caliche pits down here or rock quarries, and they rip the ground, exposing that rock. They make roads and whatnot with it, okay? There's a lot of pressure on these things. Like I say, you've got a D6, fairly good sized bulldozer pulling on this thing, and they build this stuff at a 1/2-inch plate. Don't ask me why. I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did, honestly, okay? And not only that, but they closed them off in the back, right? But left them hollow. To me, that's a big no-no. Because if you think about it, right here, oh, and not to mention this, is 1/4-inch plate. All right, that's just mind-boggling, okay? I would have done this in the back and the front, come up and boxed it off. Because what that's gonna do, the one in the front, you know, it's gonna be welded here and all the way up. The front piece would have kept this from pulling apart the way it did. All right, so we're gonna rebuild these out of 3/4 or 1-inch plate. We haven't decided yet. Most likely gonna be 3/4. And because this is where all the pressure is. You've got one piston pushing this thing into the ground, whether they're root plowing or ripping, okay? And this is just why I really don't like Caterpillar bulldozers. Their ripper bars are flawed in a million ways, and I don't care what anybody says because I've worked on them, okay? John Deere has a far superior ripper bar of anybody I've found. In functionality, simplicity, in every way, John Deere excels in their ripper bars at least, okay? This never would have happened in a John Deere. They have two pistons pushing. So all of your force isn't on one made out of 1/2-inch plate, okay? So this is just kind of an overview. This is Sunday afternoon. I'm not gonna work on it right now, but I am gonna walk y'all through this, and this is gonna take me a couple days to film, but when it's done, I think it'll be educational for a lot of you, and I'll explain step by step what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, okay? Thank you, and I'll see you. Hello everybody, Garrett Rossi here again. This is the next day. We're about to start laying out our plates, and I'm gonna show y'all how to do that. I got my right-hand man, Homer Vasquez, over there, and he's gonna help me, and we're gonna show y'all how I would go about doing this. Now, I am gonna lay this out on this plate right here, even though I'm not gonna cut it out of this. I already have it set up in the CNC to be cut out of there, but this is to show you how to lay it out for someone who doesn't have a CNC machine. Okay. So the first thing you need the total OD side to side, and OD up and down. Here, Homer has our straight edge up against the ripper at the bottom and the top. You don't want it off like that, okay? You want it touching top and bottom. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure from that straight edge to the outside edge of this. We got 26.5 inches, okay? So I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna write 26.5 inches. I'm gonna put an arrow that way, okay? 2 lines is inches, 1 line is feet. Remember that. All right, now Homer's gonna do the same thing, but from underneath. You're gonna be sure it's touching everywhere. Right there. Now I'm gonna measure my height. I have 31 inches. Put it right here. 31 3/4 inches. I'm gonna put an arrow up. That tells me that's my height. Okay. So when you're doing something like this, I always draw a square with those dimensions. All right, so I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna measure from the edge 26.5 inches. 26.5 inches. I'm gonna mark it. Be sure you have a sharp soapstone. Be light with your hands so you don't dull your chalk. Now we got 31 3/4 inches tall. Okay, so I'm gonna add an inch to this and I'm gonna explain why in a minute. So I got 31 3/4, so I'm gonna go 32 3/4. Come back here, 32 3/4. So the piece I'm getting is going to come out of this rectangle right here, okay? So now what we need to do, start in the back again. Homer's going to go in the back again like we originally did, and we need to figure out where our holes go in that rectangle, okay? Now, you can't eyeball the center of this hole, all right? So we're gonna work off the edge of the hole. So from the straight edge, lean it to your left, Homer. About there. I've got 20.5 inches from my straight edge to this, okay? This is a 3-inch hole. Half of 3 inches is 1.5 inches. So I'm gonna add 1.5 inches to the 20.5, and that will tell me where to put the hole. Now at the bottom, Homer. Same thing, Measure up to the bottom of the hole. I got 25 3/4 inches, okay? So I had 20 1/2 and 25 3/4, okay? Now, one thing. You need to know what the radius is of this. And to do that, you just measure from the edge to the center of the hole, and that will tell you, okay? Now I can tell, I already know that it's 4 1/2 inches to the center of the hole from the edge. So 4 1/2 plus 4 1/2 is 9. So this is a 9-inch circumference, okay? So we're gonna wanna draw that here. So we're gonna go 4 1/2 and then 4 1/2 right there, okay? Take a hammer and a punch, and you want to mark it. Never put your punch in and go boom, 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 because it's going to bounce out and you're going to have 2 punches. Take it out, clean it, put it back in, and mark it. Remember that when you're making circles, you're always working in halves, okay? So we'll put that there, put that there. Came out a little bit off there for some reason. I'm about a 1/2 16th off, but for this purpose it doesn't matter, okay? So there's that, all right? This is our hole center, and that is a 3-inch hole. So remember, you work in halves. So 1/2 3 inches is 1.5 inches. I'll put my 1.5 inch mark in the punch, mark it at 1.5 inches, all right? Same thing here. Put this in, go around. There's my hole. All right. Now we'll come back up here. We need to know what our hole centers are in these holes now. So to do that, you measure from the left side of this hole to the left side of the opposite hole, or the right side to the right side. Now this only works if the holes are the same. If this hole's smaller and this hole's bigger, this doesn't work. But when all your holes are the same, measure from one side to this side, okay? Always burn your tape. You want to start with a good line. Don't try to do this from here. See, I've got it on the left side there, and I measure to the left side of this hole, and I got 5 7/8, okay? That's what that is. The circle in here is 5 7/8. So now, working off of my punch again, I need a 5 7/8 circle. So we need to figure out what 1/2 of 5 7/8 is. So 1/2 of 5 is 2.5, and I believe 1/2 of 7/8 is 7/16. So 7/16, 2.5 plus 7/16 is 2 15/16. All right. So I'm gonna set my punch mark on 2 15/16. I'm gonna mark it. Make another circle. Right there. So we want our holes straight this way and straight this way. All right. So what I would do then is we got 4.5. That's what we've got. So we're gonna measure from the line. What I tell you, 4.5. Tell them we're closed. So we got 4.5 that way. We'll go 4.5 over here. We'll mark it this way. Now remember, this is the one we're doing, so we want to take our punch, and wherever that line crosses it, I'm going to punch it, punch it, punch it, punch it. All right. So I've told y'all in the past, always punch your punch your marks, okay? So when you're doing something like this, punch your corner, punch it down here, punch it down here. That way, if any of these marks get moved, all you got to do is retrace them. All right. Where the circle meets the top, we're going to punch it there, and we're going to punch it here. Because if you look at that, that's all pretty confusing, especially for someone just starting out. You don't really know what's what. So I just take my gloves and erase it all. Okay. And I'll just come back and fix my perimeter. All right. Now, we do still need our outside. All I got to do is take that to there, come around with it. All right. And our center one, this is our 3-inch hole, and these are our 3/4 inch holes. All right, they're punched. I don't even need to worry about it anymore, because I know we're going to cut this back into taper. That up in this corner, these are my center holes and my bolt holes. All right. So now I need to know what our beam is. Our beam's 7.5 by 8 inches, okay? Now I told you earlier that I wanted to leave an extra inch, so I'm gonna show you why. If you look right here, that's all broke to hell, okay? And the reason that broke, not only because it's too thin a material, but they didn't take this down underneath it like these are. These go underneath, okay? And that's a lot of strength right there. So I'm gonna take mine down underneath for about 2 inches, come up, and it's gonna take the shape of all this. So if you look here, our tops stick out a 1/2 inch past the inside wall. So it's gonna come down in like that. I want our piece to take that shape, okay? So I'm gonna come here 1 inch. It's gonna get me a line. All right. Now I said we have 7.5 inches tall. Now you don't want this thing to fit really tight, okay? You want it to go on there easily. So instead of 7.5, I'm gonna mark 7 5/8, just the 1/8 inch of room. Okay, I'm gonna work here. I'm gonna come 8 inches. And 8 inches. There's my beam. Now, our top piece that comes across is 3/4 inch plate. We're gonna go 7/8 to give it a little room, and we're gonna go 7/8 here. Now, our inside wall is inset a 1/2 inch, if you remember me telling you. So I'm gonna mark a 1/2 and a 1/2. Now I'm gonna mark it there. I'm not gonna go all the way up. I'm gonna go to about there. And then from my 7/8 mark, I'm gonna angle it. I'm gonna angle it, okay? We erase this line. And the reason it's angled is because where this piece meets this piece, there's a weld in there, all right? So this is gonna, imagine there's a corner there and there's weld there. You're gonna have to bevel this to avoid hitting that weld. All right, so I'll just trace it out a little more. And there's that. Now, if you come over here, in the back, you'll see that it goes up 5 inches before it starts angling up, okay? Double check. It's like 4 7/8, but I'm gonna go 5. So this would be that back side. I'm gonna measure 5 inches. Straight edge. I'm gonna put my straight edge on the mark and just touching this circle, right where it touches that circle, okay? And I'm gonna mark, okay? So this one here, as you can see, it came out, let's see, we got 1.5 inches from there to there. So that's what we'll do. So measuring from the front of it, we'll go 1.5 inches. All right, and we're gonna bring it down to this corner right here. Same thing on the circle and on the line. Got it? All right. Now, what is it you should do next? Punch it. Punch it. Punch it. The circles are already marked, so we'll come right here and we'll punch it. And we'll punch it, okay? So, now that that's all done, we have what we want. So we can erase the inside part of our circle. We can erase our outside perimeter lines. And there you have what we have right there. Okay. We got an 8-inch on that beam. I mean 7.5 tall, I'm sorry. We went 7 5/8. Gives it a little wiggle room for when we slide it on. We're gonna slide this opening into it, and all this should just fit perfectly. So you would just get your cutting torch now, come in here, and obviously you want, this line is what you want, so you'd cut on the inside of the line and cut all that out. And out here you cut on the outside of the line, all right? Then you'd clean it up, take it in, drill your holes or burn them or whatever it is you're gonna do. I'm gonna cut this out. I already have this designed in the CNC, and but I thought I'd lay this out so that the people who don't have a CNC will know how to go about doing it. And you can lay 2 of these out just like this, or you can cut this one out, grind it up, set it on the plate, and mark your other one, whatever you want to do. All right, 2 more measurements that you really need, and if you forget these measurements, you're screwed, okay? You can figure it out, but you need to get them right. So you want to know exactly where it is from here to here, so that you put it back in the exact same spot, okay? Right now, we got 11 7/8, 10 7/8, and 10 7/8. Now this is 1/2 inch steel. I'm gonna be using 3/4. So I need to subtract 1/4 inch from that measurement, okay? So 10 7/8, 1/4 off of that is 10 5/8. All right, so right here, I'm gonna put 10 5/8 inches like that. And it will be the same here. Okay, if I was using 1-inch plate here, I'd have to add a 1/2 inch to it, all right? Remember that. And also, the only reason we were able to get a good pattern of this is because this one hadn't ripped off. If they had both done this, this would have been extremely difficult. And we might have had to have gone to CAT to get these schematics. But luckily we were able to use this one. But we need to know how far apart they were. Now you can get that measurement from here. But I also want to know the ID, which which is 10 1/4. Okay, so you can measure it inside to inside and know what they're set at, or just work off of this. Okay, so now we need to cut this thing off.
Bottles are on, right?
So just like in our last video, in our last video I told you you can go in there and gouge all this weld out, but I don't like doing that because you're going to cut into your base material. So you can see my chalk line. We're going to cut straight through it, right above it, and leave what's attached to the base metal. Okay, we're going to start in the back here. This is just 1/4 inch plate. We're going to blow through, come across, then we'll finish going around and just let it all fall off. Okay. That move. See right here, it's ripped all the way back to there. So I went ahead and just took that corner out and I felt it give, which tells me that we're all the way through it. Okay. That's it right here. Just rest on the ripper. Start right there, blow through, and go all the way to the Now, if y'all remember, I did the video before on how to gouge. Everyone calls this something different. Okay, you call it washing, gouging, whatever you want. It's all the same thing. And we're gonna take our gouging tip and we're gonna lay it on there and we're gonna shave all this away. And as we get close, we're gonna roll it till that metal separates from the base plate. Okay, we're looking for separation. So, if you notice, this isn't opening up anywhere, which tells me that this was probably had been beveled 100% and welded up. I've yet to get it to come open. It looks like I might have already gone into my base plate a little bit there. And whenever there's no opening in the center, that means that it's welded through and through, okay? So keep that in mind. As you can see, I had a lot of trouble in these up here. They had been broke before. There's a lot of bad welds, full of flux in there. But I was able to get it down. I probably nicked the base plate a little bit, but it'll be fine. All right, everyone, we're back here the next day. We have our plates cut out. These are what I showed y'all how to lay out outside. As you can see right here, we've got it cut out to the shape of the ripper bar. And this part here goes underneath it. And this is really gonna add a lot of strength to it, okay? And I'll explain that later. Here we have our one piece set up already. I cut my pieces a 1/2 inch plate, 10 1/4, because that's what it was between them. I have 1 inch of space everywhere on these two sides. This is the height I want. Our front piece is gonna go here, but we can't put that in until this is on the ripper bar itself, so that we're able to weld all the inside to the ripper bar. You notice that all this part here is open, so I cut me a strap and tacked it in the exact same height as these. And I'm gonna take this piece here, we're gonna set it up here. This is gonna hold it up to keep it from falling, and we're gonna match these two things together, okay? All right, now to go about this is really not that hard. All we're gonna do is take us a square, put it on it. As you can see, we're about a 1/2 inch out. Go ahead and bring it my way, Homer. A little more, a little more. Whoa, now just tap it my way. Right. All right, tap it my way again. A little more, a little more. Right. Okay. Be sure you're touching here and here with your square, all right? Now we're gonna do the same thing here. You can see the gap I have. My top plate needs to come this way. Just tap on it right there. All right, you see there's no more gap. And we wanna do the same here. We're about a 1/4 inch out, a little less. Go, 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 go. One more, one more. Right there. Check it here again. Okay. We're still good there. Keep going, keep going, keep right there. Okay. We're good there. We're out a little here at the bottom now. Okay. Good. Now we come down here to where where the ripper is. Do the same thing. We're right on the money there. We're right on the money there, touching, okay? Now we'll come over here and we'll put our square inside the holes. And we need to see if our holes line up. All right. If these line up, these should line up. All right. And they do. Check it back here. Good. Check it this way. And we're touching. All right. So, right there is exactly where it goes. Now, we got 10 1/4 inches in between them. That's what this piece over here is. But we want to go ahead and check it. All right, we're exactly the same. Here, here, and there. Now, when we go to welding this up, this will move, okay? We don't want it to move. So we're gonna go ahead and tack what we have underneath. We're gonna tack it here, here, a couple spots here, and here. And then I'll show you what we're gonna do. Go ahead and tack it. Watch your hooks down there, it's all up. Out on the end. Out on the end. Do it out on the end. take this and we're gonna spin it around. Now, you'll see me do this in other videos. If I were to weld that up there with it like that, it would open. We don't want that to happen. So we're gonna go and we're gonna weld these here and here to keep it from spreading while we're welding. And you always want to tack them or weld them on the same side. That way you can just get a pipe wrench and pull them off when you're done. If you tack it here and then on the opposite side here, you have to grind them or cut them out. Okay. Homer, go ahead and tack them in. Now we've got the strap as one of them, so that's good. We'll probably just put the other one right here. Alright. Now this thing can't spread as we're welding it up, okay? It's all in line with each other. Our holes match. We match everywhere, all the way around. Alright? Now, I guess we're ready to weld it up now. Alright, you'll notice I did weld half on this side and half on this side. You want to jump around. I wouldn't just go doing it all on one side, okay? You want to distribute your heat evenly. All right, we're set up. All these rods are just tacked in. We're gonna go ahead and weld them real good because you don't want this thing springing open and breaking while you're welding, okay? Now this thing is getting heavier by the minute. Be sure you don't go so far off the edge that it falls on you, falls on your leads, falls on anything, okay? Now I am gonna weld this up with the 045 solid wire. Some of you might not think that's enough. I know it is, okay? I am gonna preheat this 3/4 a little bit. I could do it without preheating it, done it before, no issues with it, but it is on the thicker side. So I'm really just gonna preheat the 3/4. I'm not so much worried about the 1/2 inch. And then I'm gonna get one pass around everything. I'm kinda gonna jump around and I'm gonna run one pass and then stack two. So you're only as strong as your weakest part. Our inside plate's 1/2 inch. The outside is 3/4, all right? So the way I see it, if your weld is wider than your metal is thick, you're just wasting time. So our weld's only gonna be a 1/2 inch to maybe 5/8 wide when I've stacked my two passes over my root, okay? And I am gonna put a pass on the inside as well. So it is gonna be welded inside and out, but it will have more weld on the outside than the inside. Alrighty. And as you can see, I did, it's pretty hard bending 1/2 inch plates, so I did piece my top, my back, and my back and my sides together with a bevel. I am gonna fill that up 100%, and it will also be welded on the inside, okay? I'm not gonna heat this up super hot either. I'm just gonna warm it up where I don't have any issues burning into it. All right, keep in mind, I didn't get it super hot. I just wanted to take that first pass really well. And after I put a pass around this, it's gonna be hot already. So once you've got it hot, you don't wanna stop welding till you're finished, okay? Don't let it cool and have to do all that over again. I'm gonna put one pass on the inside as well. This metal's really hot already, okay? It's really hot. So this wire's burning in there really nice right now. All right, I've got it all welded up. Like I said, I did use the 045 solid wire. I put 3 passes. I put my root pass, good hot pass, and then I stacked 2 on top of that, okay? So I have a total of 3 passes. I said we were gonna come out with a weld that was 5/8 wide from toe to toe, and that's exactly what we have, okay? I buff the weld after each pass, and then when I'm done, I just take my grinder and put it in the toe of the weld where the weld meets the metal and just get the slag out of it. I don't grind my welds. You know what they say about grinding welds. If you're grinding your welds, you're a grinder, not a welder. But I have 1 pass on the inside, 1 good pass everywhere, 3 on the outside, and then I filled up my bevels with just a nice lace. It's not that wide. 1 there and 1 here. Okay, so it looks real nice. I'm happy with it. And tomorrow we will put this on. Thank you. Everybody, Garrett here. This is the final video. We got it done. Everything came out good. I'm very happy with it. As you can see, as you all know, this was 1/2 inch. We went with 3/4. All of this was 1/4. We went with 1/2 inch. Now you'll remember it didn't have the front piece. All it had was the back. And by not having this, it allowed these 2 to buckle and give and then break, okay? And I boxed this in now. It's 1/2 inch in the back here and across the front. And it is welded up really, really well down here, so it can't pull apart. And that's also gonna help stiffen it up. You don't want something like this to be given. When it gives, it's gonna break, okay? So this is all in here, it's all welded up. This is also going to stop, it's gonna stop this from being able to rip apart. It's like a big gusset in there, okay? And we also, if you see here, we came down and underneath, which it didn't have before, and I will explain that in a minute, okay? It came in here, it took the shape of all this, we welded it up really good and hot into the back. Welded up everywhere, really nice. we're really happy with it all. All right, so like I said, it was open before and it was weak. Not only was the material too small, but I believe it was just a poor design. I think it's okay for these to be open. These are just, you know, your dozer hooks here, and these are the arms that help control the ripper as it works up and down. But this is where all the pressure's at, so it needs to be overbuilt, all right? And that's what we did. And some people might say, and we're just gonna make it break somewhere else, but they brought this to us to do, and I'm gonna do my work where it doesn't come back broken, all right? And I made some deals here to help y'all understand what went wrong. So this is your ripper looking at it from the side, okay? Long ways down it. When it's got a tooth or a root plow back here, and when it's digging, it makes this want to go like that, all right? This is how it was. Just say this is the piece that we just built here. Piston attaches here, and your piston's wanting to push this back, and that makes it pivots on these arms and goes down, okay? Well, when it's digging, your square tubing is wanting to come back, and this piece is wanting to go up. So when it broke, it separated, okay? Because it was just, the bottom of this was flush with the bottom of this. So when it finally did give, it started breaking down here in this bottom corner, and it ripped apart, okay? Well, what we did has the piece that goes underneath it, okay? So it goes over it, and now look, I can't separate it, okay? This piece grabs it and does not allow, see, I'm trying to twist this way and make this go back, but I can't because that bottom piece has got it locked. Whereas before, once it broke, it could just go and go and go till they ripped it apart. So that's what we did. I thought this would help some of y'all understand maybe if you didn't quite get it already, but I'm really happy with it. It came out really nice, and this is the kind of work we always try to do. And I hope y'all enjoy this, and we'll have another one soon, hopefully. Thank you.